I was putting my clothes away in my closet the other day and saw that all of my coat hangers were just gone. And then that's when I realized, yep, she's about to tell me we're pregnant. Hello and welcome to episode 25 of the only show to ask, did the COVID shot give me superpowers? Because I can sense bullshit a lot easier now. Here on the Peterpod Network!
To people who don't know who I am, to show at my special. That's bullshit. Part of me really believes that. The other part is I just like pissing off people with kids, you know?
I'll tell you what. If you've seen him before, you're going to want to see him again.
Sending this fashion statement says I'm having a good fucking time!
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 25 of the Peterpod Network. This week, we bring you a show straight out of the four-wall studio here in lovely Goffstown, New Hampshire once again. We have a full show for you this week as the legend Sidekick is here to help us kick off an actual political segment to the Peterpod Network, and I honestly have no idea where this one's going to go. So stay tuned for later in the show as the latest edition of Let's Do should piss at least somebody off. As always, hit the subscribe button and follow the Peterpod Network on all the major socials. It's Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Check us out on Amazon, Samsung, Podcast Live, and Spotify. Give us a follow there if we can make you laugh. And I can promise you each time we play, something really fucked up comes from it. Those of you following on Twitter know what I'm talking about. There's a special bonus on Twitter for anyone who follows us. And just on Twitter, though, because that's the only one they'll give me the password to. But I personally post something randomly weird and, at least to me, it's fucking hilarious to help start your day each weekday morning on Twitter to give you all that much needed morning giggles before you head off to work for 8 or more miserable hours. If you gotta send a message, and we encourage you if you do, remember to include the THE in the Peterpod Network at gmail.com. Like I always say, let us know what you liked, what you didn't, and definitely let us know if you have a good story for us to cover in the way that it seems lately only the Peterpod Network can do. This week, I want to give a special thank you and shout out to everyone who lost their shit because we didn't post an episode last week. I don't know if any of you out there even noticed last episode, but my voice was a little off and I kind of sounded like a cross between a even more masculine Cher and, well, a dog racetrack announcer. I appreciate you staying with us because, as they say, the show must go on, but now that I'm getting whatever seasonal bubons out of my system, it made me realize what kind of a wuss I am when I get sick, but taking the week off has definitely brought me back up to fighting weight, and I have a feeling for our 25th episode, the Peterpod Network may put a little extra in our swing this week. Also, a big shout-out and insane laughing sequence to what I can only call a feminist group, and I won't name them because they did back off and saw that 1 + 1 = 2 without too much of a fight. But they wrote in about our treatment of the infamous 2021 North American Horror Award winner Melissa Cody, a.k.a. Minnie Ryder on OnlyFans, and our need to constantly mention the art impersonation lifestyle and all-around disease that she is on everyone she meets. Oh, thanks, Mom, for those creative writing classes, by the way. At first, they weren't big fans, but then one response of, and I quote, "Are you really going to defend someone who used one man to cheat on a second man while married to a third man? And if that wasn't all, she is also hiding a child from a fourth man that we have yet to find out any good reason as to why she would do that." And that's after speaking to her and the child's real father. And members of his family. We at the Peterpod Network believe that, with the proof provided, and you better believe I sent them her text, her boyfriend's Facebook text, a news clipping of her getting married, an interview I did personally with the child's actual father. I sent them everything. Anyways, with the proof provided, we see this as easily one of the dumbest targets that has ever existed, and feel that you two agree that some people really do earn everything they have coming to them. Which I see now is probably going to come back and haunt me when I turn senile and my kids get power of attorney over me. "You earned this, old man," which is probably what they're going to say to me as I sit at home in East South Dakota with a personal nurse named Bruce. Anyways, I sent that as my reply. And waited. And waited. And I know I'm bragging about being right on this. That one's on me. But the only thing I have heard back in the last, it's been 4 or 5 days now, is an email to donate to their site. That's it. Life is good. Also, remember to stop by peterpodnetwork.com and check out the archives that are there for you free of charge to help make your day go by a little smoother. Well, unless you're a Scientologist, or Vladimir Putin, or that certain horror award winner we may have just mentioned. That's right, Melissa, could I scream any louder for attention, Cody? And for those of you who want to do what others have done, like the person who hacked her, and of course another who sent a screenshot of what I can only assume is them asking if she's trans, and her immediate posting on her public page of a notice that she is and always has been a female. That one made this office laugh until we peed a little. To make someone have to publicly clear up whether they're a man or a woman is fucking straight fire in the comedy world, and I'm sorry, I guess that's what you get when someone proves that you are in fact a giant piece of shit. So with that out of the way, I do have to tell you a story about what happened to me 2 days ago when we went in for a quick nip of caffeine and a homeless-looking middle-aged trendy asshole ruined milk for me forever. If you know me, I have this thing when I go into a coffee shop where I try to shame everyone in there. I'm an asshole. To know me is to love me. I'm loud and judgy, just like those pretentious fucks who are practically shooting up with caramel coconut lattes over in the back corner. I read the menu out loud, and like I just took a job at an auction house and I need to practice. Venti, venti, can I see a venti, good sir? Excellent, now can I have a 30? Anybody got a 30? Coffee, caramel, hazelnut, maybe a nice scone for the lady. Can I see more than venti? Who will give me more than venti? Going once, going twice. This joke only works if you're smart enough to know that venti means 20. And no, we live in America where it's called a large. Why the hell would you bring foreign language numbers and sizes to one of the only countries on earth that can't grasp the metric system? But besides that, I noticed something rather odd, and honestly, it made me kind of uncomfortable just a couple days back, really. I was fucking around once again, and I know, surprise, surprise, when I went with friends to get their morning coffee fix. And I love fucking around, especially in the snooty shops that are filled with hipsters that roll their own cigarettes and think scarves are a sign of an intellect. Which, let me ask this clearly. How intellectual is it that you have wrapped around your neck the very instrument I will use to kill you if you roll your eyes at me one more fucking time, Dexter? Guess you didn't think that one through in your poli-sci discovery of a different emotion course, did ya? I guess Harry Styles and Trevor Noah didn't prepare you for that one. Anyways, it's my turn at bat, and I'm trying to order a regular fucking coffee like 2 sugars, 1 milk. Boom! Should be easy, right? Not nowadays, apparently. Well, this 40-year-old, wearing a wool cap in August, which I'm guessing because somebody told me he's got a bald spot, and sporting enough metal in his face to get attacked by flying magnets whenever he passes the fridge, looks at me like I just offered him $3.50 for his sister's virginity. And he's actually getting kind of angry that I didn't specify what kind of milk I wanted. Like, really? Which kind of milk? How about milk? Have we changed the definition of milk? Did I unknowingly just order 2 sugars and 1 dildo, which is now known as milk? Jesus fucking Christ. And of course, he then goes into all the different kinds of milk they serve. Almond milk, soy milk, hazelnut milk, cactus milk, cashew milk, eucalyptus milk. I'm fairly certain if they could get the twin engine out of an old Indian motorcycle and crush it into something right there in the store, they would have tried to sell me that too. And of course I was like, what the fuck, cactus milk? And I'll give credit to the Manson family reject taking my order as he goes, look, we got milk from trees, leaves, nuts, and nipples. And it was right about there that I realized I'm making fun of a room full of people because they get their milk from an almond, and I'm the creepy asshole about to uncomfortably order nipple. They fucking ruined milk. Oh, that reminds me. I got this joke about how the skin of her fupa looks eerily similar to the skin on my nutsack, but my conscience won't let me. Oh, and who wants to hear a rant? Here it comes, right after this. Rehab, where they send you when you took too much. Rehab, cause you got caught smoking meth on your lunch. Rehab, cause the guy at the pawn shop sick of your face. Rehab, cause you once tried to sell him your kid. Rehab, cause the judge says that it's for your own good. Rehab, cause you done so much coke you have no wood. Rehab, cause you killed the cat when you passed out. Rehab, so you don't end up like Amy Winehouse. Rehab, and we all remember what happened to her. Rehab, cause she looked like a skeleton that crawled out of the woods. Rehab, 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 cause you thought meth was a good replacement for food. Rehab, cause you walk around with a burnt old spoon. Rehab, cause you challenge your grandma to a fight. Rehab, cause I seen you suck dick just to get high. Rehab, cause heroin isn't vitamins for kids. Rehab, Cause you're covered in scabs, burns, and other shit. Rehab. Cause your parents are afraid of what they can see. Rehab. And your dad wants to know where the hell is his TV. Rehab. 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 What are the words to the song? I don't know, but I'll carry on. Because I've got something to say. And here comes the rant of the week. Okay, I said it was going to be a political kind of show, and this week's rant is about to kick it off. With something I actually heard when I was putting gas in my car earlier this week. And that is, why is everyone still so bumfuzzled over a jackass who isn't going to be running for president again? Not now. The man was just raided by the FBI. Do you really believe in Joe Biden so little that you were actually worried about the guy who was impeached twice, had his home raided by the FBI, and has already made the presidency look so fucking bad to so many fucking people? Don't get me wrong. If it comes down to Biden versus Trump, it's probably a dead heat between which one can make the least amount of sense. But if you think Trump is going to get that far, right now, in the political and social environment that we live in at this very moment, then you might as well give it to him because you have completely forgotten about everyone else. There's a guy in New Hampshire who runs for president every year named Vermin Love Supreme who, this is no joke, literally runs his campaign while wearing a rubber fishing boot on his head. Think of a skinny Jerry Garcia who rants about peace and love like the Peterpod network rants about the dumbass shit that you all do. All while kissing babies and shaking hands with a boot on his fucking head. That guy has a better shot of winning New Hampshire than Donald Trump. And yet this country, never mind the state of New Hampshire, can't seem to look at the fact that the bloated orange Macy's Day Parade float is more concerned right now with bigger shit than another attempt at holding an office that will make him hated even more. Think about it. Donald Trump used to be loved in this country. Never mind that he had his own show, The Apprentice. But the guy appeared on everything from a goddamn Home Alone movie to, oddly enough, more than one Whoopi Goldberg movie. Yeah, you didn't know about that shit, did you? Before Whoopi was a trash bag wearing homeless person on The View, she was all about getting her some Trump all up in her shit. Anyways, this guy was so loved that he appeared in Home Alone 2, The Little Rascals remake, 54, Zoolander, fucking Zoolander. What I'm saying is that Donald Trump was living the good life. Fucking God knows who, whenever the fuck he wanted to. Friends all over Hollywood, and if I remember right, was even a Hillary Clinton supporter and friend. And then he becomes president and poof, cities are burned down by, I guess we'll call them victims. That's a whole nother rant for another day. Anyway, cities burned down. He became known as the president who made racism a big topic again, and not for good reasons. He didn't get to become the Abraham Lincoln of the new millennium. No, he got to be known as the guy who said there are good people on both sides. So why the fuck would you think that the guy who flew too close to the sun would want to strap on a pair of wings again? At this point, I think he's just fucking with you. I really do. You all turned on him faster than it takes Andy Dick to become Andy Got Some Dick. And at first, it was because he was running against Hillary. That's right, Hillary. 50-something of my friends have mysteriously committed suicide, so please let me run your country, Clinton. And please, don't misunderstand this as an endorsement of Donald Trump. This is the furthest thing from an endorsement. Even if I liked him over Biden and completely forgot that there are going to be more than just two candidates to choose from. Which, by the way, is just like every other fucking presidential election that has ever existed, so why the fuck are you so worried? I will be voting, and it won't be for him. With that said, though, I don't care if I'm now supposed to be a public figure. If you really want to know who I'm voting for, fuck off. Where can you hear about this fucked up town? Only on the news. Hear it on the news. Did some crackhead run out into traffic? Find out on the news. Crack is a Where's my beat? Yeah. Building came in, find an alien, find out on the news. Is E.T. coming for me? Is your mother really your brother? Find out on the news. Mom, you got a lot of explaining to do. Was your principal really a heroin dealer? Find out on the news. Did he sell smack? Loves that smack. Oh, yes, he does. Once sold himself for smack. Hear about it all on the news. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the PPN News. I am Peterpod. We've got Will in the back, and we here at the Peterpod Network wanted to start off episode 25 segment of the news just right. It appears on September 6th, Plastown, New Hampshire had a bit of an invasion. And no, this isn't that. They don't need to build a wall. But they may need to get me a knife and fork, as multiple loose pigs were doing their best to give me one more reason to turn them into bacon. And of course, this all happened on Main Street Tuesday. Animal control, and fat people around the area, of course, came out alongside members of the Plastow Police Department, as this time, apparently, Charlotte's Web said, let's get the fuck out of here. It is currently unknown at the time of this story how the pigs escaped their enclosure, but this reporter would like to think that maybe one of them held a Bic lighter to his skin, like a high school emo girl crying in the bathroom, and lured the farmer away with the sweet, sweet smell of roast pork. Members of the police department who had removed their guns and replaced them with bottles of Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce could not be reached for comment. Alright, what else do we have here? Oh, so any of you guys and gals remember Jew Pond in Mount Vernon, New Hampshire? No? It's called Carlton Pond now because I guess the little gay kid from The Fresh Prince was a better idea than naming it after an anti-Semitic watering hole. Well, Oregon has now been hit with the same shame stick that we got as their very own Swastika Mountain has finally been put up for a name change. I'm not much of a social justice warrior, or really a protester much at all. Unless I covered or do it on this show, I could generally give a fuck what kind of shenanigans y'all get into. But I think we can all agree that Swastika Mountain was due for a name change for a good while now. Don't get me wrong, the good people of Oregon named the mountain after a cattle ranch that existed before Nazis even were a thing. So I'm definitely not calling them a bunch of racist hicks stuck in the mountains celebrating Hitler. Not at all. But would it hurt to put someone in charge of, say, making sure you don't have things that share the same name as the most horrible group of people to ever exist? Swastika Mountain has been Swastika Mountain for about 100 fucking years now, and for about 80 of those, we probably should have did something a little sooner. There comes a time, especially in the last 5 years or so, where words take on a new meaning. Like man and woman, for example. That changed from a scientific fact to a tool of the patriarchal system that is trying to keep you down by predetermining who you really are. Yeah, I don't get that one either. I really don't. But over time, words have meanings that change. Names too. Like, say, swastika. That one was a big one. It went from peace-loving Buddhists to genocidally crazy madmen with a hard-on for racism and a fetish for yelling. And with that said, I think we should all be thanking fucking God that Trump's last name wasn't Spoon. Because then we'd be putting Clintons in our mouth every morning when we have our cereal. And if anybody knows Monica Lewinsky, ask her how that one worked out for her. Ew. And for our last story tonight, did you know that New Boston, New Hampshire has a gravestone that sits in the open and denounces gravity? Apparently somebody's got a grudge. So it turns out a guy named Babson from Massachusetts, because Mass keeps fucking ruining New Hampshire every chance it gets, really did not like gravity and even started something called the Gravity Research Foundation because of a couple people he knew that drowned. Well, old Babs set up his foundation against gravity because, again, the man hates gravity, and he goes and sets up shop in New Boston, New Hampshire because of its unlikelihood of being hit by a nuclear bomb. Which, if you're willing to honestly admit it to yourself, you wouldn't want to set up shop where you think you're going to get nuked either. And back in the 40s, I imagine that was probably a bigger issue than it is in 2022. And, while trying their best at avoiding to stand under anything, I guess, old Babsy and his friends would do what any of us would do and wasted their time. Here's to you, gentlemen. And, speaking as a man who's seen a certain horror award winner naked, Gravity, you are a cruel bitch. And with that, for Peterpod and Will in the back, let me just say thank you for listening to The News. Made my way to the church on top of the hill. They gave me some really fun pills. Seems like I'm taking too long to convert to this shit. Well, the goat's head made me pause a bit. I'm in a cult. I'm in a cult. All these ceremonies aren't what they said. We spend our time digging up the dead. Seems like this has gone on too long to make any sense. And their inspiration is medicine. I'm in a cult. I'm in a cult. Gave away my possessions and I sold my house. They said to separate your attachments or else they're gonna take my life away. That's what the one with the crazy eyes said. I'm in a cult. I'm in a cult. Da 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 da. Let's do. Da 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 da.
Let's do.
Da 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 da. Let's do. Da 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 da. Oh shit! What are we doing again? Fuck. Hello, folks, and welcome back to this week's edition of Let's Do. And as I promised earlier in the episode, this week we have the sidekick to the hashtag legend,
Ringy.
You gotta love the names on this show, folks. But getting back to our segment, we asked Ringy all kinds of random questions, mostly about politics and New Hampshire itself. And with that in mind, first thing we had to ask him, what do you think of the president?
I can't stand the guy. I think he's senile, he should have never been voted in, and he's probably going to get too old to be able to do anything, and then all the people under him are just going to be like little puppet masters.
And while I'd love to call Ringy a little bit crazy for that comment, I'm really not too far off on that one too. Puppet master's a little bit strong with me, but propping up a dead guy like Weekend at Bernie's does seem pretty fucking accurate. And of course, with all things being equal, we had to ask him about Trump.
I thought he was pretty cool. I liked that he would speak his mind even though people didn't like it. Cheap gas, cheap taxes, even though I didn't really get to experience much of that. Cool guy in general.
Looks like Donald Trump owes somebody a beer. So you may hear it in his voice, but our friend Ringy is kind of young and is actually getting ready for his first election coming up. Now, we asked Ringy, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is New Hampshire politics to someone as young as yourself?
I mean, I kind of care. If I were to put it on the scale, I'd say like a 7, Like, I won't really think about it until, I'll see like a crackhead on the side of the street coming out of the methadone clinic or something, and I'll be like, oh, what the fuck, I pay for that.
Sounds like someone who just looked at their pay stub and saw exactly how much comes out of it. Growing up sucks. Now, as Ringy is a young gentleman who is just coming into his own, working jobs and discovering taxes and apparently crackheads and methadone clinics, we had to ask him, what has been your shittiest job so far now that you are an adult?
Oh, easily Starbucks in Bedford, dude. You'll meet the richest, dumbest people you'll ever meet there. And then their kids are like that, but like times 2.
And if you've ever been to Bedford, you know that ain't no fucking lie. Now, at this point, we did try to break away from politics a little bit because, again, the kid's 18 and, well, I don't want him to blow a brain cell trying to think of some fucked up shit that he's just not ready for. But we asked our friend Ringy, what is the one thing about New Hampshire that just pisses you off?
The police. I mean, that is more of a Manchester thing. They don't do shit. Had a rock thrown at the van, called the cops, watched the cop drive by us. But, for all of New Hampshire, I hate how they're taking down all the trees and, the wildlife and shit. That makes me mad.
And if any of you have actually ever met Ringy, I'm pretty sure, like myself, that you're thinking, I totally thought you were going to say smoke trees, not save them. Now, some questions we ask people just to kind of see what the answer would be, just to see if there's a little shotgun on there or if it's just going to be another dead bullet. This one surprised me. When we asked Ringy, do you even give a shit that the Queen of England died?
Yeah, dude. I mean, like, I got the call right as it happened from my boy, the Legend's kid. I almost asked my boss for grievance.
Another answer I did not see coming. Now, as we keep saying, Ringy is a young man, and, well, frankly, we're greatly appreciative of his participation in this week's Let's Do segment, and we wanted to have a little bit of fun with Ringy before we let him go. So we flat out asked him, Ringy, you're 18. You're probably doing shit you shouldn't. So, as the sidekick to the hashtag legend, earlier as he called it, his boy, we wanted to know, Ringy, where's the strangest place you've ever woken up from that you got no fucking clue how you got there?
Okay, so I'd say it was like one of my first nights drinking or whatever. It was Hennessy and Captain Morgan.
Holy fuck. I'm sure you all remember what it was like to drink at that age and the stupid fucking decisions we made.
You know, that's the mix. Not really sure how it happened, but at some point, dude, I was in the yard. And that's all I can tell you.
And that's what fucking happens when you mix Captain Morgan's and Hennessy. Remember, folks, olives are good. Ice cream's good. But they ain't good together. And for us, that is it for the Let's Do portion of the show. Thank you again to Ringy, and of course to the hashtag legend for letting us borrow his sidekick for a few moments. You all have a great night. For Peterpod and Will in the back, this has been Let's Do. Da 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 da. Let's do. Da 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 da.
Let's do.
Da 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 da. Let's do. Da 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 da. Oh shit! What are we doing again? Fuck. All right, so thank you for listening to episode 25 of the Peterpod Network. Thank you again to Ringy for the interview, and of course all of you out there for the continued support throughout the last 6 months. I've noticed we picked up a few stragglers along the way, and I gotta tell you folks, the last 6 months were fucking difficult, but they were fun as hell. So the next 6 months are probably gonna get fucking wild. So make sure to follow us on all the major socials, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all that shit. Check us out on Amazon, Samsung Podcast Live, and of course Spotify. Make sure to write into the Peterpod Network at gmail.com if there's something you want us to know. And as always, check out the archives at peterpod.com. So, for Peterpod, Will in the back, this has been episode 25 of the Peterpod Network. Now go outside and fucking do something, you lazy pricks.